We are officially in the last 90 days of 2024, and if your timeline is anything like mine, then your For You page is filled with content about the winter arc and how to lock in and change your life in the last 90 days of 2024. In this video, I'll be sharing 5 tips that'll help you lock in and also help you conquer your winter arc so that you can reach all of your goals in these 3 months. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tiana if you're new here. If you're not, welcome back. Thank you for returning. At the start of this year, I did what we all do, and I set up a list of goals that I wanted to reach during this year. I did a whole bunch of research on the 12-week year. I had a whole Notion page dedicated to it. I wrote down all my goals. I wrote down some actionable steps that I would be taking to reach them. And here we are in October, and honestly, I can't even tell you what I wrote in that Notion page because I haven't opened it in months and I don't even remember what I set out to achieve at the start of this year. If you can relate, then this video is for you because there were some fundamental things missing when I set those goals that have led me to either not reaching the goal or even forgetting that I made the goal in the first place. So if you want to keep watching, I'm going to be sharing some tips that'll help you stay locked in and to make sure that you're actually putting in the work, but also assessing and adjusting your goals and habits as you go along your winter arc so that you're not leaving anything behind and so that you're actually looking into things and seeing what works and doesn't work for you. So my first tip is to determine why you're doing any of this. Why are you setting that goal? What are you hoping to achieve? And what is it going to change in your life? The answers to this question is what's going to keep you going when your motivation is low, when you don't feel like doing the thing you set out to do anymore, and it's going to keep pushing you to go further and further and further. I'll take going to the gym for example because I know that part of the winter arc for some people is going to the gym more often or just engaging in more physical activity. Let's say my goal is to be shredded and to lose 10 pounds. In the first week, second week, third week, I'm probably going to be very consistent with it and I'm going to continue going because at that point my motivation is still really high. If that's the only reason why you're going, it becomes a little bit more difficult in week 4, 5, and 6 to continue going because that's when fatigue will set in. That's when you're going to start getting tired. That's when you're going to start getting lazy. That's when you're going to just wake up and say, you know what, I don't really want to go to the gym right now, and then you don't end up going because it's easier to lose sight of that why than it is if part of your goal or part of your why is health. So if you value health, you attach that value to that goal and those two together will push you to continue. Once you get to week 4 and you have very little motivation, the thing that's going to keep you going is the discipline, right? So over those 3 weeks you would have built discipline already to be going. But another thing that's going to keep you going is if your why is strong enough to get you out of your bed. And I genuinely feel like having a value attached to that will also propel you even further because you're not just doing it for this aesthetic. You're doing it to be healthy and to maintain your health over that period of time. I find that when I set my goal and I think about how it's going to affect the people in my life, it gives me even more motivation because now I'm not doing it just for me, I'm doing it for the people in my life as well. Another thing with setting a goal like losing 10 pounds or becoming shredded, if you don't reach that goal by the end of the timeline that you give yourself, you're going to be really disappointed in yourself. But in all honesty, losing the 10 pounds, it should be a result of your goal. Your goal should be, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week and push myself when I'm there. And by setting that as your goal, you will have that result. And even if you don't have that result, you've still met your goal of going to the gym 3 times a week. It changes the focus from the results to actually what the goal is. And if the goal is to be healthy, then whether or not that result comes with it, you're still going to be happy with yourself. I also really want you to be aware that at the end of these 3 months, you might not reach your goals. And that's okay because essentially you've taken the steps to reach that goal because you built up so much momentum and consistency and discipline that will go with you into the new year, and then you're going to reach your goal eventually because you've put in the work, and then it only becomes a matter of time before you reach your goal. At the start, motivation is high, it's peak, it's yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. But at some point, you're honestly not even going to want to do it. You are really going to be dragging yourself out of your bed. And this is when you need to remind yourself of why you're doing the things you're doing. You really need to lock in to your reasoning for doing things because it's so easy to, in the moment, then lose sight of your goal or decide to do the easy thing when you are no longer so motivated and pumped to do it. You need to do the difficult thing even when you don't want to do it, okay? You need to stick with the plan and not the feeling. This is something I've been hearing a lot on TikTok, and I love that because feelings are so temporary. You will feel today that you don't want to go to the gym. Tomorrow you're gonna wake up and be like, maybe I should have went to the gym. My second tip is that you need to have long-term goals, but you also need to have short-term goals. And in addition to that, you need to have weekly or bi-weekly check-ins. Having short-term goals will feel less overwhelming than only having a long-term goal, because sometimes you look at something and it seems so big. My goal is to hit 10K subs by the end of this year on this channel. When I think of that, it seems so far away. It seems so overwhelming. And I'm like, how am I going to do that? How is that even possible, right? It's October. But if I break that down and say I want to get 100 new subscribers every week, then that seems a little bit more manageable. And even in my head, it seems just more feasible than me saying 10,000. Like, you get what I mean? This is very specific to YouTube. I want you to think of this in terms of what you are trying to reach. If you have a difficult time taking your long-term goal and breaking it down into smaller steps or coming up with a kind of schedule, you can use ChatGPT. Easy and free. Having short-term goals will also help you track progress, because from week to week you can kind of see, how far am I? How am I doing? Is this working? Is this not working? I also want you to think of habits and actions in line with your goals that will show you whether or not you are staying disciplined and consistent with what you are trying to reach. Taking it back to my gym example, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. 2 of my habits to make this happen can be actually going to the gym, but another habit would be packing my bag before I go to sleep, so that in the morning all I have to do is get ready and take my gym bag with me, and then I have no excuses to not go. If for 2 weeks in a row I only managed to go to the gym 1 time, then I know that either my goal is a little bit too far out of my reach at this moment, or something is happening. So you need to analyze what the issue is. You need to figure out whether or not that goal is a little bit far out of your reach, or if you're just being lazy. So that's what the weekly or bi-weekly check-ins are for. It's for you to evaluate how the previous week went, and for you to see what you should change, what's working, what's not working, and for you to adjust your plan or either adjust your goals. It's not a bad thing for you to change your goal a little bit as you go along in something. Don't be afraid to adjust your goal. At the end of the day, the goal is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. I watched this video by this creator, and the one thing that she said that really stuck with me is that you really have to look at things objectively, and you need to ask yourself 3 questions. The first is, what happened? The second is, why did this happen? And the third is, what will you do to improve this? So these 3 questions, in my opinion, really help you analyze what's happening from a more objective point of view rather than an emotional or personal kind of point of view, which we usually take. Number 3 is setting aside some time for social connection. So this is making sure that you are still giving yourself time to hang out with friends, call family, and really just cultivate and keep putting energy into building those connections and keeping them alive. Winter itself can be a really depressing, isolating time of the year. I think that it's much easier to fall out of contact with people, to not prioritize going out and doing all these things because it is cold outside, and it's completely understandable. But at the same time, your emotional batteries will get drained, and it can really contribute to getting burnt out if you're just so focused on all your goals. You shouldn't let everything you set out to do completely consume your life. You still need to connect with people in your life, some time to laugh with people, some time to enjoy yourself. So make sure that you are prioritizing that, because it is more difficult to do in the winter times. It's even easier to fall into a seasonal depression if you are alone and isolating yourself. I know you have someone in your life that when you speak to them and you guys have like an hour chat, or like, I don't know, 2 hours, sometimes even 30 minutes, they just fill you up so much, and they really actually give you so much motivation, so much will. I don't know what it is. Like, I know you've experienced this. Number 4 is visualizing your success. So you want to be able to see yourself 3 months from now reaching that goal, achieving that thing that you want to achieve. Visualizing yourself reaching that goal and feeling how it would feel to reach that goal all ties into manifestation. One way you can do this is by having a mood board. I have mine up there. If you're a visual person, then that's a really good way to have all of that in front of you every day. So I will look at it in the morning or at night. Before I go to sleep, I really try to see myself reaching my goal. Another way you can do this is through journaling. So you can sit down and script your desired future. So you want to imagine that you've already reached this goal. What would your day look like? And describe in detail how it feels to live this reality. Another thing that I do is my daily gratitude journal. So in that, there's a section for what would make the day great, and I think that goes to setting an intention for the day, and in that way you can see that you're taking small steps to reaching that goal. So in that section, because I want to reach 10K subs by the end of this year, if it's a day where I intend to post a video, I'll write, if I post my video today, then it's a great day, because I know I will be taking taking a step further to reaching my goal, and I'm also setting an intention for the day. So my goal for that day is to post a YouTube video, and because I've written it down at the start of the day, it's playing in my mind, and now I want to do this thing, right? You need to let go of all the hows and all the control you're trying to have over this future that you are trying to achieve, and just trust that it'll unfold. For me, my trust is in God, and nothing is too big for him, and anything that I set my mind to that I involve him in will happen. My last tip for you to conquer your winter arc is to shift your focus to consistency instead of perfection. Aiming for perfection is going to lead to burnout, and you're never going to be happy with your results unless they match your idea of perfect. And sometimes you can't reach that because truly no one is perfect and nothing can be perfect all the time. Sometimes the point is just to get it done. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be the most beautiful thing that you did, but you got it done. So instead of aiming for perfection, you want to try and be at least 1 to 5% better every single time you do something. So for example, I do this when I'm editing. I used to be so fixated on having each video be perfect, and the angles must be perfect, and this must be perfect. Last week I filmed a video and my clothes were in the corner somewhere here, and I only noticed this after filming. Old me would have probably redid that video. I couldn't keep them on my bed, and I completely forgot that there's a mirror, so it really just reflects and you can see the clothes. But that's not the point of the video, right? I was giving so much value in that video that it didn't matter if my clothes are over there. You probably didn't even notice that there's clothes there. So now what I try to do when I'm editing is just to incorporate something new every single time and just build it up slowly until I get to a point where I've acquired so many skills and my editing is gonna flow nice and I'm gonna have all of these cool things happening, but I'm not gonna learn all of that in one sitting. It's not one video that I'm gonna make so perfect. I'm gonna learn everything, I'm gonna put everything. That's not how it's gonna work. Focus on taking consistent small steps that will get you to your bigger result. I've also been watching a lot of videos when it comes to developing discipline and consistency in all these different areas of life. So I'm gonna leave some of the videos that I watched in my description. Very good resources. They explain things so well and in detail. If you want to know more about those, I'll leave them there for you. I really recommend you go and watch them. If you enjoyed this video, you should check out this video over here where I break down the steps I took to glow up internally. In the video, I shared some tips that have helped me improve my mental health and cultivate a more positive mindset, so you should check that out, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!